In our today's lecture, we are going to see how oil is being processed, what are the steps involved in the oil processing, the one that you get for eating in our day-to-day life is a processed oil which has been refined, which has been filtered, and we don't prefer to eat the freshly expressed oil. But if you know, or these days, the cold pressed oils are becoming more popular and more famous. In olden days, in particularly our rural area, the farmers, when they used to have these oil seeds, what they used to do is, they used to have a ghani, ghanis, and they used to use cattle or animals to take out the oil, and it was just a pressing between two rolls, and the oil was pressed. So so that was like ghani oil or unrefined oil. But then when you have this urbanization and industrialization and modernization, to improve the shelf stability, we went, we modified this oil through the processing by removing so many constituents and ingredients, so that its shelf stability could be improved. So if you look at the seed of any plant, so generally, usually, at least in India, the oil is taken out from either, we know that there are various types of oil. On the first day, we saw, you have peanut oil, you have sesame oil, and India being largest producer of peanut, we have a peanut oil. Then we have sunflower seeds, from which sunflower oil can be taken out. Then we have safflower seeds, we call it as a curdy, okay, in Marathi, or mustard seeds. Then we have coconut, can also be used. Then we have this flaxseed, okay. So sesame, sunflower, safflower, and there are other also like soya bean, canola, corn. So there are so many types of sources which could be extracted for the oil. Generally, like if you look at the soybean, there is around 30 to 40. Even in peanut, there is 30 to 40% fat. So when you have the seed, overall, if you see any seed, there is a fat. Okay, so depending upon the source, for example, sesame, peanut, or soybean will have around 30 to 40% fat, depending on the variety, and there are many other factors. If you look, coconut will have even higher percentage of fat. Flaxseed would have around 20 to 30% of fat. But in the seed, there is not only just fat. There are other constituents also present, like you have protein, you have carbohydrate, then you have fibers, then you have minerals, you have other micronutrients, you have other bioactive constituent like enzyme, you have enzyme, or you have antioxidant, or you have like lipase or lipoxygenase. Such a complex system, okay. And then fat is not, when you express it out, it is going to carry along with it certain amount of these ingredients, and when you have these certain amount of ingredients, it is going to affect on the shelf life or shelf stability, okay. And therefore, as a scientist or technologist, we invented this processing technology of oil, so that the oil stability could be improved. But at the same time, we realized that there are micronutrients such as vitamins and they are getting lost during this processing. So we decided to add, when you have an oil, we add externally vitamin. Then we thought that, oh, these antioxidants are also getting lost during this processing. Let's add some antioxidant. Then we add antioxidant. And now recently you must have seen, entirely people would like to go for cold pressed oil and they are more expensive than the refined oil. A safflower oil which is refined and which you will get around 130 rupees a liter. The same cold pressed or unprocessed oil or just extracted using ghani is current price is 450 rupees per liter. Okay, so right now people are preferring for it based on its quality, and also like it has stability also. But there are some other disadvantages, like the shelf stability is a problem. Okay, so basically whenever you look at the oil processing, it has 5 processes: refining, number 2 settling and degumming, number 3 neutralization, number 4 bleaching, and number 5 deodorization. Okay, so what is refining? As the name indicates, refining, we are refining. See, whenever you say refining, means you are doing cleaning, you are removing the undesirable things from anything, is called as a refining. Okay, so basically when you express the oil or extract the oil from the seeds, you have other substances just now I mentioned. So that also come along, because those substances are, some of them are polar, some of them are non-polar, and we know that fat, also has a emulsifier. Like some of the seed also have emulsifier, like soybean has a lecithin. So there are polar compound as well as non-polar compound, and every seed also has certain moisture content. Almost 10 to 12% moisture is always there in any of the seeds. Okay, so they contain all these fat. When you express, these constituents are also going to come along with the extracted oil. So that may impart undesirable flavor, color, or keeping quality. Color means, for example, you have peanut. So when you take the peanut and extract the oil from it, and the oil, that also peanut has lot of carotenoids or pigments, like the skin of the peanut is pink in color, is because of anthocyanin and certain coloring pigments, pink pigments. Okay, so when you express, and pigments like chlorophyll, carotenoids, and these anthocyanin, they are fat soluble. So when you try to extract the fat, these pigments also come, and instead of the color of the oil will be either red or yellow or little bit of pinkish. So, but then this color is undesirable. People want a very whitish, clean, transparent oil. Also, you don't want to have that nutty flavor, because peanut will have a nutty odor or flavor. Or if you have mustard seed, mustard has a very strong pungent odor, a pungent flavor of that mustard. राई का तेल में तो बहुत strong mustard like pungency होता है. So you don't want that pungent odor. Or take an example of soya bean, a very very beany odor. But then when you go today in the market, you buy either sunflower oil or peanut or mustard. They all look same in color. Of course, there will be a slight change in the color or difference in the color. But then even they are nowadays, in the bland odor or flavor. Like they don't give, a mustard oil may not give, a mustard ka flavor or odor. So these flavors, colors are undesirable. And what do you mean by keeping quality? When you have a seed, you also have natural enzymes present in the seed, and those enzymes are lipase. And where you are very much aware when the seed get a favorable condition. Okay, so when the seed is in intact condition, no problem. The fat is in the intermolecular cells or cells of these seeds. Okay, but the moment you express, the oil will come out. Okay, the oil will come out. Along with oil, the enzyme lipases and lipoxygenase will also come out. And when the oil is available, which is a substrate to this enzyme, the lipase will break down the lipids into free fatty acid, and then auto oxidation would start and the oil will get rancid, and therefore the keeping quality of this such type of oil is very poor. So in the process of refining, these substances such as free fatty acids, sometimes naturally also you must have seen that when your mom has purchased some peanuts and kept at home for a longer, even if it is not broken, if you break it, the peanut and powder it, the shelf life again goes down because the surface area increases, the oil gets exposed more, so the powder peanut has lesser shelf life compared to the whole peanut. But then whole peanut also you see that the rancid taste will come because of the rancidity or the oxidation of the free fatty acid. So naturally also, due to the storage and the temperature abuse, these free fatty acids are formed. Phospholipids are naturally present in the seeds. Carbohydrates are naturally present. Proteins are naturally present. And if you have proteases enzyme in the seed, the proteases enzyme will act slowly. The reaction is very slowly because the seed is in active form. Okay, the seed also has a germ. So the moment even the enzyme, moment they get a favorable condition of temperature, they will start acting upon their substrate. The proteases will act on proteins and they produce amino acids or the smaller units, and their degradation products are produced. Then there is a water. 10 to 12% of moisture is always present in the seed. Then there are pigments like carotenoids, chlorophyll, and especially when you have special seeds like sunflower seeds or safflower seeds or flax seed, there are different types of pigments that are present, like which will contribute to the color, and also natural fat oxidation which will take place because of the auto oxidation process. So when you have this crude oil express, this crude oil is subjected to several commercial refining processes to remove these materials. So what are those processes? So settling and degumming. Now, name itself indicate you settle the oil and you remove the gum. You degum, like you remove the gums that are present. So settling involves heating the fat and allowing this fat to stand until the aqueous phase separates. There are generally these in the industry, I have visited several multinational also which are processing this oil, and there are number of videos also available in YouTube. So if you get time after this today's class, just put oil processing or oil refining as a keyword in YouTube. There you will see this operation. But generally this operation is closed because when you heat the oil at a high temperature, it becomes a very dangerous commodity, because a heated oil can burn, and it's like so generally also in these companies, when you go for visit, always there has to be certain distance to be kept, and it's not allowed. You cannot watch any observation, like any operation, very closely, because everything happens in the closed environment, all the container and everything. So basically here the oil is heated and allowed to stand until the aqueous phase separates. So that the fat has around 10% of the moisture which has come come from the fat that you have extracted. The processed oil, obviously, you know, there are standard. It should be 99.99% of the fat should be there. The moisture permitted is very less, 0.1 to 0.2, like FSSI standard. So there should not be any moisture in the bottled oil or processed oil. This is the norm. But when you have this naturally expressed oil, it would have a water. So what is done in this phase? This oil is heated, and you know that oil has a higher melting point, and water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So water will be able to easily evaporate. Okay, water will be able to easily evaporate. So you heat the water, and then there are this is carried out to separate the aqueous phase. Okay, this results into the separation of water from the fat. Also, there are protein material. Okay, emulsifier or phospholipids are also naturally present in the seeds. The proteinaceous material, the phospholipids, and the carbohydrates, which has ability to dissolve in the water, like polar components. All polar components will be dissolved in this water, and they will be removed. You know, sometimes what do the companies do to make it more finer or refined? They also sometimes add externally water. When you add external water, what happens, you know, these compounds which are more polar, which dissolves in water, then they get dissolved, and then it becomes easy for you to remove. So in some cases, particularly with the oil containing substantial amount of phospholipid, like for example, in case of soybean oil, there is more phospholipid. But if you take an example of the other oils, for example, sesame or peanut, you will not find so much of phospholipid. Okay, so a preliminary treatment such as degumming is applied, wherein, you know, you add more water, as I mentioned before. You add more water and you agitate so that these components are mixed or dissolved, and this reaction is carried out at 50 degrees Celsius, and then you have phases, the separate and then you try to separate the hydrated phospholipid by settling or centrifugation. Okay, two layers are formed, oil and these phase in which these phospholipids are dissolved could be separated. Then you have a phase called as a neutralization. Okay, so to remove the free fatty acid, as I mentioned before, from where this free fatty acid has come in the seed, naturally this is either due to the hydrolytic rancidity, like because there is already a moisture present in the seed. So either it is because of the hydrolytic rancidity, as I yesterday explained, in presence of water, triacyl glycerol molecules are converted into dye into mono, and mono into free fatty acid. Either that could be the reason, or the natural enzyme, maybe the enzymatic rancidity. Enzyme lipase is acting on the triacyl glycerol, and it is converted this tri into a mono, and mono into a free fatty acid. So to remove this naturally formed free fatty acid, caustic soda in an appropriate amount. Why I'm saying here an appropriate? Because some seeds might be very fresh, and then they might not have a very high amount of fatty acid that are generated. And generally, you know, the big good multinational company, you know, they tie up with the farmer. The moment the harvesting is done, they take those seeds and, you know, process it, and the storage is not recommended. So to remove this caustic soda in the appropriate amount is required. The strength of the caustic soda is depend upon you know, they do the analysis first, and then it is mixed with the heated fat, and this mixture is then allowed to stand until the aqueous phase settles down. This resulting aqueous solution is called as a soap stock. Okay, this is also is called as a foot, and this foot is then separated and used for making a soap. there is this residual soap stock is removed from the neutral oil by washing. So here, you remove once, then you again add water, then you again wash it. So you can remove it by adding water and removing again and again and giving a washing with the hot water, followed by centrifugation or a settling reaction, so that the entire caustic soda needs to be removed. Otherwise, then it will remain in the oil. Okay. Although the free fatty acids is removed, this is the main objective of this neutralization treatment. This process also results into the significant reduction of phospholipid. See, in the previous case, we have tried to remove. In this process, we have removed phospholipids. But if there are more phospholipids and they have not yet completely removed, in this case also we are adding hot water and then we are centrifuging. And then in this process also this treatment helps in reduction of phospholipids. Now the next step is bleaching. Bleaching means you are trying to remove the color. Okay, you are decolorizing. So almost complete removal of coloring matter can be accomplished by heating the oil around 85 degrees Celsius and treating it with adsorbents. There are a number of different adsorbents, but the most common one used is Fuller's earth or activated carbon. The one that I have seen the factories, they use this Fuller's earth, but because nowadays there is more advanced versions available, so the columns are available, so the people put this oil through the columns, and then this column is packed with the activated carbons, and then when you pass this oil through this, you will get the the pigments attached to these beads or Fuller's earth. Okay. So here the precaution should be taken to avoid the oxidation during bleaching. Okay, bleaching agents like this activated carbon or at a high temperature also, there should not be any oxidation take place. So the care has to be, and then in the industries, of course, they do take a lot of care so that this oxidation is avoided. Other materials such as phospholipids, soaps, and some oxidation products are also absorbed or adsorbed along with the pigment. So in this process, suppose there are few remained, like these compounds remain because from the previous process. See, in the previous process also a lot of water, it is a multiple number of washings are given, but in case some residue remain, in this process, these things also along with the pigments gets removed. So the bleaching earth is then removed by the filtration. There are very huge filtration beds, and then the oil is passed through those filtration beds, and then you get the filtered oil. Then the next step is deodorization. Odor means you are trying to remove the odor or flavor or nutty, beany odor. So volatile compounds with undesirable flavors are mostly either arising from the oxidation or you have a natural odor from the seeds. Okay, and these can be removed by simply steam distillation under reduced pressure. Here the pressure is reduced so that you operate it, okay, at a lower temperature, because otherwise if you use a higher temperature, your oil may get spoiled. So citric acid is generally used as a sequestrant and traces of pro-accident metal. Here one should be very, very careful to avoid the oxidation. It is believed that this treatment also results in thermal destruction of non-volatile off flavor. This is a disadvantage. Okay, it also causes a destruction of off flavor substances which are non-volatile, and that these resulting volatiles are distilled away. They say, as I mentioned in the first slide itself, that this process improves the oxidative stability, but this is not always the case, and very recently we have also, so one of my PhD students also worked on, we worked on all different types of oil which are processed, like whichever oil is available in the market, and the one which is cold pressed, okay, just brought from the ghani and without any processing. And we checked a lot of parameters like the stability, rancidity, formation of free fatty acid, fry stability, and many other, and then sensory, many other tests were carried out, and we observed that the freshly expressed oil, because of the natural antioxidants, had a very good stability. Of course, it was more foaming because of the phospholipids and other emulsifier that are present. There was a more foaming, but in terms of sensory, in terms of formation of free fatty acid, in terms of oxidation, the natural oils are really good. And that is what is this statement is correct. We say that this refining process gives oxidative stability, but it is not always the case. Crude cottonseed oil, for example, has a very good resistance to oxidation, is because the cottonseed oil has a compound called as a gossypol or a tocopherols. Even sunflower oil has a vitamin E, or peanut oil has a peanut. If you take an example of peanut, very high vitamin E, okay, good vitamin E, and vitamin E is a very good antioxidant. So when you process this, during this process, these compounds, which are natural antioxidant, are lost. But there can be a little doubt as to the remarkable quality benefit that occur from refining edible oil. But then you need to remove these compound. Gossypol is an anti-nutritional factor, and that is why if you see in mustard seed oil there is argemone, which is like not good for health, because it is a very pungent, so it is removed. And cottonseed oil, which may not be edible because of the presence of gossypol, but due to refining, it removes this. An impressive example is the upgrading of palm oil quality that has. If you see, the freshly expressed palm oil, it's completely red, red in color, but a filtered, refined palm oil that you get nowadays in the market is completely white, is removal of these compounds, okay. So this process gives an improvement in color, flavor, stability. Also sometimes, in the peanut, if you have stored peanut, the aflatoxin may grow, or gossypol